So it's January.
It is.
2018, 2017 was the year that just finished.
Yes. End of an era.
End of an era, yeah. I know that some of the most recent movies I saw that were kind of at the tail end, even beginning of 2018, but they came out in 2017, was like Shape of Water,
Oh, yeah.
which we saw, which was really good.
Awesome.
All right, Shape of Water I liked a lot because it was Guillermo del Toro like doing his thing again.
Just being weird.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And
Yeah, and I liked, how strange it was. I liked the use of color, like all the green that he used. I liked that they had this really strange lead character.
yeah, who just was so at in the beginning of the movie, like it's so unfitting to the traditional norm of how your heroine actress should be, your hero of sorts, or like just how a protagonist should be portrayed as,
Yeah.
It's strange. And like you said, speaking on like the color and the set and everything, it felt so like murky and just damp and gross but like at the same time so fitting to what was it, 1950s, 60s?
I think it was the 60s.
You think it was the 60s? I
Yeah.
can't remember the particular time
Yeah.
frame. But it's so fitting, at the same time. It felt magically colorful, but with a much darker palette, of course, kind of washing it over. And it almost felt like a stage play, to some extent with how they did the direction there.
And there was not a whole lot of different sets, or
Yeah.
just locations. There was like the lab, her apartment, and then we saw a little bit of Michael Shannon's like home.
Yes.
But that was about it, and like the docks at the end. But the use of green was really interesting because they had the lab had like this washed out like murky green
Yeah.
color. The walls were kind of a green. The bathrooms were green, and the soap was green.
Yeah, everything
And
was.
I remember what else. Oh yeah, the little candy that Michael Shannon would
Oh,
chew
those
on.
are green, yeah, as well.
I noticed the green pie that they ate. Her.
Oh,
and
yeah, the key lime. Yeah, the
then
nasty looking.
when her friend, since he was an artist, when they told him they wanted the Jello to go from red to green.
Wow, you know what? You're making me realize how much that was like such a huge piece of concept to that.
And the only other green that I remember is there was a scene where they had his kids. He had a daughter and a son.
Uh-huh.
And his daughter had a green sweater on, or a green shirt on. And his son had an orange shirt, which I don't know what that was supposed to, but I think his wife had an orange shirt
As well.
Yeah, so I don't know what that really meant, but his daughter had a green shirt, and then there was green like all over the place.
I didn't even realize that. That's actually a really interesting detail.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the movie uses a lot of that schematic. Like to me, it's like a schematic. Like it's very fitting to the theme behind it all, and the way it begins with the movie introducing the everything being engulfed in water at first.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, and then it transitions
and it
into
just like
normal.
all settles, and yeah.
And it goes in the movie, like, the concept of green being in there, and like, in the same variety of the algae, and of course,
Yeah, like the water thing and all that. But
for it to go that far, I didn't notice that.
yeah, and I wasn't sure. I know green like has several different like every color has like several different meanings.
Yeah,
or whatever.
behind it.
I know the green is primarily associated with like envy or luck.
Luck is a big one, yeah.
But I wasn't sure. I was thinking about those. I wasn't sure if there was a lot of that in the movie in terms of like jealousy or in terms of stuff like that.
No, there is one other meaning to green. If I'm not mistaken here, actually, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be some form of like compassion almost.
Okay.
And I could be wrong, like because red can be seen as that too.
Yeah,
well, that's more passion versus compassion. There's a difference in that. But I do remember like at one point, green, to me was distinctively told to me as like a color for life, and for life is to have some sort of understanding to life. So henceforth the compassion, henceforth feeling like this like Mother Nature almost,
Yeah, for Mother Nature.
Let's not get there yet.
Save that for a little bit later. And I liked the ending too because I wasn't really expecting the gills thing.
Oh yeah.
Maybe that was obvious, but because I was afraid that the movie would go a cliche route and like maybe have her they established that the creature could heal with his touch. And I was like, oh, is he gonna like heal her
vocal
throat
cords
and she's gonna be able to speak? And I was like, that would have been really lame, I thought. But thankfully the movie went a much more like mature
routes with it.
And did that nice little, like, the gills appearing on her, like, scratching,
Yeah.
which is cool.
And they're therefore giving you this sort of, like, you're not really sure what happens next, but you kind of do.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like how it was a fairy tale that wasn't ended with
Fairy tale, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Without giving us like a complete, like BS cop out fairy tale ending. It felt magical without being unbelievable. And that's
Yeah, I like that. It was a fairy tale. It's a good way to put it. That was definitely one of my favorite movies of the year. I'm not sure if it'd make my top 5 or not, because there's a lot of other movies.
It's tough to call.
But it's one of my favorite. Baby Driver, one of my favorites. I think you liked it a lot too.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
Okay. Fucking great movie.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
How do you feel now with all this Kevin Spacey stuff? How do you feel about, like, are you able to separate, the art from the artist, or not so much, or is it kind of like based on each individual situation? Or
I think for the most part, I can definitely separate, the reality of the situations that certain people are in versus what they deliver. Because most of the time, especially if you're a good actor or actress, you can portray someone other than yourself.
Yeah.
And I think Kevin Spacey is a person who can technically do that. Like, when you see him in a movie, you get a certain vibe that you can experience, but, like, that's like saying I'll never be able to enjoy American Beauty ever again. But that's like an incredible film, and there's so much of a different character in that versus House of Cards, and they're different portrayals of different characters played by the same person. And then in Baby Driver, once again, another character that is pretty much off the rails of what I've seen him do in other movies, of course. So, no, I don't think that, especially in those situations, I don't think that those performances will ever be affected directly by what him or anyone else has done. It's just more so associated with, like, if somebody were to do something that was visually similar or concept-wise similar to what they have done in a different sense. Like, obviously there's a lot of allegations going around Hollywood right now, but, like, if I saw one of those actors do something similar to that presence of ideas in their films, then it'll hit a little close to home. And that'll be, like, that performance will then be like, ugh. But in the situation of,
because it becomes almost like a meta performance.
Exactly.
It's like too
real.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in the sense of Kevin Spacey, no, I don't care. Like, it's one of those things where, of course, if they've already done what they've done in terms of the movie, in the performance of the film, like, how am I supposed to not enjoy that medium?
What about this? So, because Baby Driver came out before any of these, like, well, I mean, it was out there in Hollywood, but we didn't really know about any of these things. So Baby Driver came out before we knew about all that kind of stuff. Not that he's never going to be, like, in any movies again, but, like, if a movie had come out, let's say, well, there was almost a case of this, because he filmed a movie called All the Money in the World, I think.
I've heard so little about.
What happened was, he filmed it, and it was coming out soon, but then all this stuff happened. So then Ridley Scott, who made the movie, he was like, all right, well, the movie's busted.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is, what he did was, Kevin Spacey had a smaller role, so he just did reshoots and replaced his role with somebody else.
Yeah.
And put the movie out anyway, without Kevin Spacey in it at all. And it worked out, I think. But if that movie had come out with Kevin Spacey in it still, obviously it would have been done very poorly. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that would have been a case where people wouldn't have been able to, obviously, to
separate the reality from
They would have been like, oh, no, fuck this.
So that's my argument in the sense there. Like, I'm able to separate that because, it does. I would hate to be called cruel or someone having an opinion on that, but it's because, like, I can specifically, like, I would enjoy the art, the film, the movie, whatever you want to call it, for what it is, and I'm not going to associate that with whomever made it. It's not like I'm supporting that directly unless I go pay for it and buy a copy.
Right.
Like, if I watch it, I watch it. It happens, and that happens all the time. Like, movies turn on. Yeah. There's something on. There's something free on Amazon. There's something free on, and it's like, just by watching, I'm not like. Yeah. Like, I completely support this person, what they do, Right.
But I feel like I'm a little more lenient on those kind of things with, I guess, actors than like filmmakers. Like, if it's a filmmaker who,
it's a little different because
then you are supporting them by buying their movie or whatever.
But more directly.
If I go buy Baby Driver, I'm not supporting Kevin Spacey because he's not getting money for that he already got paid for that movie.
Yeah, you know, and the biggest thing is that, you know, go look at any credits list. There's 200, 300 plus people, all who put in work on that specific title, you know.
And they shouldn't, you know, it's unfortunate because you don't want the people who put a ton of work into a project to lose all that hard work because of one person.
Yeah, one person's
doing something horrible. Information,
you know, or mess up coming out.
Yeah.
And that too, it can completely jeopardize something that isn't at all related to them, for one. And then two is in that situation almost happening directly after all that work has already been poured into something.
Right.
You know? And it's a tough situation because, of course, you want to be as respectable to people who do survive situations or are stuck in situations as humanly possible, but at the same time, it's like, you know, you got to weigh in the reality of life and understand that in that situation too, like, this is something that's already basically wrapped up and finished. Like, if they fire the person, you know, for whatever happens, or they, in a situation like that where they like do reshoots instead, you know, that makes sense. I understand that. But I'm sure that people still had some kind of motive to avoid that movie, you know, in the situation of what was it called again?
What, Baby Driver?
No,
all the money in the
all
world,
the money in the yeah. And that sucks because in a situation where they try to fix everything, I'm sure people still had such huge or a vendetta against it still.
Sure. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. But I do think though that it's unfortunate because I mean I feel the same way. I'm able to watch Baby Driver and you know whatever, and it's fine.
He's not the lead.
Right. And but the thing is though is like I'm not gonna be able to not think about it at least once. You know, like, pop in Baby Driver, or I pop in fucking The Usual Suspects or something like that with Kevin Spacey. And I'm gonna be able to enjoy the movie, but I'm not gonna be able to like not
completely separate
think
them
about it. All that aside, Baby Driver was a great movie.
And
It's definitely in my top 5, I'd say, for 2017.
I'm still.
You don't have to come up with a list. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
like,
dude, it's tough. It's tough.
In my fiction, in my whatever my list is, it's probably in there.
It's in there somewhere. Okay.
Because it was so much fun.
It was
such a fun movie.
It was definitely one of the movies that when we went and saw it, no information on it, zero information.
Yeah.
And then the intro just got me all jazzed up.
Dude, the intro was so good. That intro car chase scene, the music,
on beat and on point.
You know what I love about that movie? I love that it's like so, like it's so poppy and like, you know, bright and colorful, and it's very interesting.
Very vibey.
Very vibey. Yeah. I like the aesthetic a lot. I like how the bad guys and so like John Hamm has like his look, and Jamie Foxx, and then.
Everyone's like a character.
Everyone's a very colorful character.
Yeah,
it's very cool.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. That was one of like that and The Shape of Water, two very big like hits for me, in the sense that they're movies that I had little expectations or almost no expectations for. You know, to some extent, like I wanted to see them, but only because I only knew so much. And then you watch them, and they surpass your expectations in certain ways, and in both senses. It's because they're fun in different ways too, you know. But they're fun.
Yeah.
They're almost like passion projects.
They're a joy to watch. Yeah. That's the thing, man. Expectations, in my opinion, can be very, very
dangerous.
Poisonous.
Yes.
And dangerous. Yes, because I think that's what happened with Star Wars. The Last Jedi.
A lot of people.
I love Last Jedi, and it has some issues, but that's fine. You know, you can have issues with a movie and still like it.
Yeah.
And I get it if you don't like the movie, that's fine, obviously.
Yeah.
But the people who I think there's a lot of people whose expectations were very different from what they got.
Yes.
And they're upset about it. But here's the thing, in my opinion, if that's the case, don't be aware of that. Don't just say the movie's shit and it's shit on my childhood and Ryan Johnson doesn't know how to make a good Star Wars movie and it's all trash because it wasn't what I wanted it to be.
The crazy thing about that too is that the only thing that movie did, it was just it challenged the idea of everything going right. You know, right. I don't want to go into major spoilers or anything, but I think what I ended up really enjoying about The Last Jedi was everything I apparently hated for 7 was the fact that it felt well. First of all, of course, everyone knows that 7 is largely regarded as almost a rehash of the original right. Episode 4, and to most people that's fine. It's still fun. It's still cool. It still has really good moments. But to me personally, it was the same thing I didn't like about it. Being an adult now too, like I'm not a hardcore Star Wars fan. I'm a good Star Wars fan. I think I find myself enjoying the universe a lot, but I'm definitely not like a hardcore. Like I grew up with this so hard, and like this is like a life lesson story to me. You know, it's not like that deep to me. It's deep, but not that deep. But what I enjoyed about Episode 8 so much was the fact that like it challenged the idea of both the Jedi and Star Wars as the idea of how the films are typically represented.
Right.
And that is something that I think not only shook the world and the foundation of people who have such deep love, but I think is going to make the series develop more like colorfully, more nourished almost, you know. It adds more depth to it, and that's just something that I feel like people can't, you know, understand and just appreciate.
It needed that.
Yes.
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 It needed, for Star Wars to survive, it needs to be challenged.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
And refreshed.
Yes.
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 And here's the thing. All right, 7, I love 7.
Like 7, yeah.
And it's definitely, see, I personally, I disagree that it is a remake or a rehash of Episode 4. I think that it has a lot of broad strokes of the similar story beats as 4.
Yeah.
In a way, yes, it needed to recapture the Star Wars that people loved.
Yeah.
It had been so long since Episode 3 had come out, which was 10 years. And on top of that, the prequels, I like the prequels, but
They're not very Star Wars.
They were very different. And I understand that the new trilogy needed to be more similar to the old one because it was more in line with that.
Theme
The same
too.
characters and the same kind of like vibe.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. That's true too, because like episodes 1 through 3 obviously have a much different story to tell, and therefore feel naturally different. While 4 and onward is almost like a new fairy tale, a new whole chapter.
And none of the characters from 1, 2, and 3 carry over into 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah, of course.
You know, they're all dead. And it's a very different time in the galaxy, and the events of 4, 5, 6 have what we call it 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
So you know, it's more in that line. So 7 needed to be kind of recapturing that a little bit. And for me, the one like crime with 7 was Starkiller Base. I thought that was way too similar to the Death Star. Other than that, I was cool with everything else. But I agree, 8 was a nice palate cleanser.
I think it's a good refresher, you know.
And my personal favorite thing about 8 was that how you said they challenged stuff, but they also challenged Luke Skywalker, and like making him the way he was in Episode 8, I think is spectacular. You know,
a lot of people hated it. A lot of people hated it.
Yep.
And it was even for me, I will admit, like I wasn't expecting it like that. I wasn't expecting for that story to unfold like that. But I mean, come on, by the end it redeems itself. By the end, like if anyone has any problems with it at that point, you know, like it's like you're picking too far, man. You're picking too far.
And I think Luke's final act. You know, I'm not gonna lay it all out for you, but in my opinion, Luke's final act was the most Jedi thing
that you can possibly
ever do.
Yeah, it was 100% like mystical warrior.
Yeah.
Jedi. You know,
nonviolent. That was the best example that Star Wars films have ever presented of what a Jedi is.
When the whole situation was happening though on the planet, and I saw that happen, I was just like, what the hell? I was blown away. And then when, of course when it's revealed how it all happened, I was just kind of like, okay. You know what? I can believe it too. I fall for it. I do.
It was. I fall for it. Yeah. It was. It was the ultimate act of a Jedi, of a true Jedi master. And
satisfying.
I was really I thought it was great. So I'm excited. I'm still optimistic for the future of Star Wars. People are giving it a hard time.
Was there any speaking on these topics right now, because we've talked about some fun movies that we've watched, and then of course we started with a bit more of the most recent. Speaking on the topic of like blockbusters, because we've kind of honed in on that right now on Star Wars. Was there any blockbusters that you did not enjoy this year, or rather in 2017?
Well, the blockbusters that we did see were War for the Planet of the Apes, Wonder Woman, right? Guardians 2?
Guardians 2, yeah. Guardians 2.
Dunkirk, Justice League.
Dunkirk and Justice League, yeah.
Now,
and Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah. Damn, okay. I like all of those. Okay, I don't not like any of those.
Mm-hmm.
I think my least favorite of those were Guardians 2, Wonder Woman, and yeah, that's probably it. Because
Justice League.
oh yeah, Justice League. Well, yeah, I put that in there too.
It's in there
So
somewhere.
the superhero movies, except for Spider-Man, I
Homecoming.
love Spider-Man.
But I didn't see Thor Ragnarok though.
Oh, Thor Ragnarok.
But I heard
so
that was
good.
awesome. Yeah, I heard it was
Yes.
awesome. And I'm sad I
Yes.
haven't seen it yet. So as far as superhero movies go, then
Right.
Before we go back to the whole like disappointing of the blockbusters.
Yeah.
There's also Jumanji. Don't forget that.
Oh yeah, I saw Jumanji and
You did see
it was
Jumanji?
okay.
It was okay.
Yeah.
It was okay. Well, on the superhero movie, this is one interesting thing because like superhero movies to me have been drying out a little bit as of late.
Okay.
And I heard in many people's eyes and interpretations is that 2017 was like almost like a comeback to how dry it was becoming.
Yeah, I mean, before that, in 2016, what did we get? We got...
It wasn't Batman vs Superman, was it?
It was.
It was.
Yeah.
It was that.
Right? Yeah, it was.
I can't remember for sure, but
Yeah, I don't remember.
See, yeah.
Also, Logan came out.
Logan.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Wait, did
yeah.
Deadpool come out in 2016? It did, right?
I think that was 2015 or 16. Might have been 15. Might have been 15.
Are
You
serious?
might have to Google it at this point, honestly.
Google that.
Yeah, but I know that Logan did come out in the beginning of this year, and that was what I loved about that was that was so far away from a superhero movie in so many ways.
2016.
2016?
Yeah.
Okay. But it captured so much of a superhero vibe in such a different sense. And then Logan was definitely by far one of the most... I think Logan is definitely in my top 5 of this year just because it was such almost like a poetic tale with a very gritty, obviously, vibe over... Not even vibe, but like story over it, really.
Aesthetic and story, yeah.
And it's probably the only title of its kind that can capture the essence of a Western
Yeah.
without being a Western.
Without being a Western.
Yeah.
It had that, like, oh, dude, it was so much... Not only that, but I love the details of that movie because I loved how in the beginning of the film when Logan pulls out his claws the first time, they come out all slow and like uneven. And there's like the
one
blood.
stuck is
Dude, it's so great. Those kind of details in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
That might be in my top 5 too.
It's just because me and the lady recently rewatched it.
Oh man, I haven't seen it in so long.
Yeah, we rewatched it and like it had the same magic, man. Like the same. The only thing I will still say is, of course, the enemy, the true enemy in the movie still feels lame to me to some extent.
Sure, the guy with the hand.
No, the X-24.
Oh wait, the other Logan.
Yeah. Feels a little lame to me still.
Yeah, it's a little cheap, I think. Like a clone of him.
Could have been an identical similarity,
right.
but it didn't have
but
to
it
be.
was literally him.
Yeah, and they you know why they use it specifically for one scene. Just that one scene, Xavier in the bed.
Oh yeah,
and that's it, and that's it, and then you're like, all right, throw it away now.
Yeah, dude, and the final sequence in that movie in the forest.
Oh, dude,
when he's just like running through.
All juiced up.
Oh my god,
it's just beautiful, dude. Beautiful.
So cool. I hope he never does Wolverine again because
no
that is the best finale for his character. There's been all these rumors about him like returning again, and I'm like, because now the X-Men I think are gonna be in part of Marvel
potentially, yeah.
If that happens, and they're like, oh, now that they're in Marvel, they could get. The
only option I can see them
Jackman,
doing for that is if they just keep it like on an alternate universe kind of thing, which they've already kind of done. I don't know how the whole X-Men timeline from Fox is all kinds of fucked up in so many different ways.
Yeah,
but that's the only way they can do it is if they just somehow justify that like that happens on this thing on that, and then whatever we get next is a whole new wave of something.
I just really hope he sticks to that and just does not return.
He shouldn't because it was just a perfect touch.
Okay, so I know how you feel about this movie, and I disagree more or less. But lately, I've been starting to come around a little bit more to your side of it. I think
I know where you're coming with this. I think where you're coming with this.
Wonder Woman.
Okay.
You hate it.
I didn't like it. Yeah. I thought it was lame. You know. I thought it was. I think okay. This is the easiest way to put it.
Okay.
Gal Gadot does fine.
Everyone has a different way of saying your name. It's interesting.
Is it Gal Gadot?
I've heard Gal Gadot, Gal Gadot, Gal Gadot, Gal, and that's the first time I've heard Gal Gadot.
Gadot. I don't know. I don't even remember what I said now because you got me so confused.
Got it.
Got it?
Yeah.
Gadot. Got it.
Gadot.
Gal Gadot.
I think it's Gadot.
Gal. Fuck.
Gal
okay.
Gadot.
Gal Gadot.
Gadot.
Gal
Gadot.
Gadot.
Yes.
Gal Gadot.
I think that's what it is.
Okay, we're gonna go with Gal Gadot.
All right.
She does fine. The whole story for the most part is okay up to a certain point. And then we got the romance, which I'm just a little like okay. And then we got the World War One stuff. You know, I'm just kind of like it doesn't feel right. Just visually doesn't feel right. It looks a little lame to me. And then we get like the actual antagonist, and I'm just like, I want to walk out. I just want to walk out because that is the lamest and most predictable thing you could have done. You know,
Yep.
like it follows certain tropes that piss me off as a person who's seen so many movies for one. And not like I'm not no pro, obviously, I'm no pro. It's just when you see like shit you see since the '90s, you're just starting. You get a little annoyed, you know.
Yeah, I think it's a fun movie, and I think I had a good time watching it, and I think a lot of people were maybe just comparing it to the other DC movies that had come out. And
I think that's what it was. Yeah,
it was a lot better than those. At least I think they are, and most people think they are. Better than Batman v Superman, better than Suicide Squad,
Oh,
and
God.
better than Justice League.
yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, this movie is like so much better than all of these other ones. It's like, and it was a hit, and I think it deserved to be a hit, but it was a little cheap sometimes. And my big thing was the villain, and I hated the final battle with him and with her and Ares. Not only that, I was like, all right, I get that he had like that disguise image of like him as that dude, right?
Yeah.
As a Remus Lupin from Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But when he reveals himself to her and they start fighting, he keeps the face.
Which is ridiculous.
He has the mustache.
And everything, yeah.
And his face is like in this helmet.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god.
It looks ridiculous.
It looks ridiculous. Why didn't he just become like
Himself, Ares,
like,
yeah.
Why did he keep his face? Is that his real face? And then
I hope not.
they
That's
did-
the thing.
They did that little like flashback to like when he had been defeated or passed
Uh-huh.
away, and they showed like him like hunched over, and he like looked up, and it was him with the mustache and everything. I was like, what the fuck?
Like, did he not change his aesthetic
Yeah.
for over 1,500 years
so
or
that
some
was
shit?
that was really really whack, and their fight was very generic and
And it
very
felt so like
CGI
yeah,
heavy.
man. It just felt like it was like a barf worthy in the sense that it was really really like cheesy for one. Like, and the lines that they said to each other like was so forced.
I remember-
Didn't feel organic.
He was like, at one point, he's like, "I will destroy you,"
And that just hurts, man. It just hurts. You're just like, I thought we were over this. I thought we've been being over this. You know, I
See-
thought we were done with this stuff.
I remember when we saw it and we did our movie shenanigan cover. You weren't in the video. You weren't in the review part. 'Cause You left.
Oh, I did.
But,
Yeah. I was so disappointed. I was like, I'm gonna go sleep this off.
But I know Mateo had said something that I actually, the more I thought about it, the more I liked it. It was he thought that like, 'cause remember in the movie when she kills who she thinks is Ares.
Yeah.
And then nothing has happened. Nothing's changed. And she's like, "What's happened? I killed Ares, and it's still like this is still happening.
Yeah.
The war is still happening." And then Steve Trevor is like, you know,
Like
war
is like in
more-
our hearts.
Yeah,
and,
it's in all people. Like this is sometimes people are just this is how people are. You know, and I was like, oh man, this is. And Mateo was saying like would have been really great if that was like it. Like
that was the ending.
That was the ending. That was the
lesson that she
message.
learned. Yeah.
That Ares doesn't real, but he's real in the sense that war is a real
Happens,
thing,
yeah.
and it's a vile thing that you should fight. But then it turns out that Ares is an actual like god that she
Yeah.
fights in person.
And then doesn't World War II end after he dies or some shit at some point soon?
It was World War One.
World War I. Sorry, World
But-
War One. My apologies. Yeah,
but
sorry.
I
This
don't-
whole gas mess and stuff.
I don't remember, but I remember how it ends. But I was thinking about it. I was like, yeah, that would have been a lot more mature.
Would have been
you
a smart direction, especially with the fact that DC does try to be
A little different.
a little more serious with their titles. You know.
But
Yeah.
I mean, I get it because it's like the Amazonians.
Yeah.
They are like goddesses in a way, right? No, they're not goddesses. Like she is, but they're not all goddess.
They're just it's weird.
They're Amazons. That's
Yeah.
what they are.
They're
Yeah.
just species of a certain kind that are apparently really damn powerful.
But I just I think it was just kind of cheap.
3 Billboards in Ebbing, Missouri is a movie that we already talked about.
Yes.
And people should go listen to that
Yep.
and hear our opinions on that because that is definitely my top one.
Really,
Dude, nothing beat that movie, dude.
that was a good movie.
That was a movie that we saw of a complete bullshit hinge of just like, let's just go see a fucking movie, man.
Yep.
And we went and saw a goddamn movie.
Yep.
And I walked out like, that was an experience. And that was
Yeah, dude.
powerful, hilarious, well written, well directed, well acted, and just
Vern liked it.
and yeah,
Which
and
is
that's
surprising.
That's a seal.
That is a seal.
The V seal, the
Yes,
seal of
the V
Vern's
seal.
approval. Yeah, that is a seal right there.
Here's my favorite movies are movies like this movie because for me, I enjoy fun movies the most.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a fun watch, but also has a layer of drama to it.
Yes.
That's like compelling.
Yeah.
So, Three Billboards was funny, and it was compelling dramatically. Other movies like that, Shape of Water, it was funny and compelling.
It was.
A
lot of fun, too.
Baby Driver was a lot of fun, but had some compelling moments. I think.
Subtle but good. Subtle moments.
Planet of the Apes, War for the Planet of the Apes, similar, very more on the dramatic side.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Three Billboards is my favorite type of movie. Across, I don't know what kind of genre you would really put that in.
Black comedy.
Black comedy, yeah.
That's probably the best. It's a drama / black comedy. That's the best way to say it.
Those are the movies I like the most.
Mm-hmm.
I think over all other genres, black comedy or dark comedy or
Yeah.
whatever. Because it's nice to just have fun watching a movie.
Yeah.
You know?
Despite the context.
Yeah, and then also, you want to laugh, you want to cry.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those
I
times.
want to feel both sometimes.
Yeah,
a
so
little fun.
that would be my top 5 too, to be honest. And I hope it does well in the awards and stuff. I know, it's won some awards already, but hopefully in the Oscars it does
more, yeah.
pretty good job.
Because I think it definitely deserved that sort of
And it
lasting appeal.
It came out of nowhere too, I think, right? Like
I heard nothing about it.
Yeah.
We knew nothing, and especially that too. Like when we went to pick that movie, of course, it was just based off of what was available to us.
Right. It was either that or Wonder.
And I'm so glad, so glad, man. 'Cause could you imagine?
I'm sure Wonder's great, but
Like, could you imagine if we missed out on it? Like,
I know.
I'd be a sad man. I know I wouldn't know that, but I'd be a sad man.
yeah. And you know what? I'm glad you went with Three Billboards because I was on the fence. I was like, Wonder, Three Billboards. I don't know what's
See, I'm a sucker for like just deep. I don't care, and you know that too.
Yeah.
Like, you know that kind of guy that I like. Party setting, like Ex Machina. I'm
all right,
that kind of guy.
calm down.
I'm just saying. But no, Three Billboards in Ebbing, Missouri was a knockout punch because it was, like you said, it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
It was dark and entertaining. It was sad and brutalizing to your emotions, and it just really captured a side of the human soul that you don't see in movies.
Sam Rockwell
Did such a good
he's a piece of shit.
And then you love him by the end. Yeah, like what the fuck, man?
Frances McDormand, she was so fun to watch in that movie. She was so good. I loved her attitude. She used a swear word that I think is the most underrated swear word that people need to say a lot more, and that is fuckhead.
Fuckhead. Oh god.
I love the use of fuckhead in this movie.
I thought you were gonna say the C word, but that's
Cunt?
better. Yeah.
No. I mean, that's great, but it's
So
a little,
strong,
it can be
but yeah.
overdone
Yeah,
sometimes.
it can be.
Fuckhead. It is great. And she says it with such gusto.
Yeah.
And then Woody Harrelson.
Oh my lord.
Can't get over Woody Harrelson.
His character.
Dead Willoughby, so kick-ass movie.
Very good.
And then I don't know if this really counts. I just want to briefly say that I, Tonya, I think it counts as a 2017 release. I'm not sure.
I think so. It came up on my list of 2017 movies.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, it might as well at that point.
I saw it recently, and I know I was talking to you about it the other day, but fucking loved it, dude. It was same thing. It was funny. It had compelling dark moments as well. It was a black comedy in a lot of ways. It was a good fun watch.
Yeah.
Had some serious moments. And Margot Robbie just proved herself as like a fucking ace actor, dude.
Yeah.
She's so good.
I still need to watch it. It's
So
one you got me
good.
excited to watch actually.
Yeah.
There's that. I still need to see Florida Project. Didn't get to see that.
Wait, what?
Florida Project.
Oh, yeah, I remember you mentioned that.
Yeah,
I
I
haven't
think
seen
it's-
like anything for that. Florida Project.
Very Lady Bird is another
I
interesting.
know. It's crazy that we haven't seen Lady Bird. Everyone was like raving about it.
Well, that's the thing. There's in our location, we don't have we don't have good access anyways. We don't live in a city, so we don't get to see these
That's true.
these
You have
hidden
to
titles.
Got to go to Philly if you want to catch a lot of these.
But I will say that two other ones that definitely were on that side of more deeper, more knockouts to me in a different sense. Not as good as Three Billboards in Ebbing, Missouri, or as like fun or flashy as the the other titles that we talked about. But A Ghost Story was very nice. I definitely came out.
I didn't see that.
You didn't see that one?
No.
Definitely it's hard to say because it's not exactly a tearjerker, but it's definitely something that will, as the movie tries to say, like it'll haunt you. Because there's something about it that's both satisfying and unsatisfying. And it's emotional without, to some people cried, of course, but when I watched it and I came out of it, I felt like this sort of lost sensibility to myself. I had this almost like missing piece to myself.
I've heard that it kind of ends very unsatisfying in a lot of ways, where it's just like, life is shitty, this is a shitty story, over. Like, it's done. Is that kind of how it was, or?
It's more like, because I obviously don't want to give anything away to someone who's never seen it. Let's just say that the movie ties in very well with itself from the beginning to end. It does a very, very good, I guess I don't want to say like a loop around. I don't want to say that. Like, I don't want to say like the beginning calls to the end or and vice versa. But like, it does something that gives it a whole congruent, full feeling to some extent.
So it's satisfying in the sense that it is a film.
Feel that it does this.
Yeah.
It does a full shape. It gives you something whole.
Yeah,
but the literal center of it is hollow.
Right.
And
that's very poetic.
Yeah. And that's how it, dude. It hurt a little.
This guy. That was nice.
Yeah.
And it makes a complete shape, a nice circle.
Yeah.
But it's hollow.
Yeah.
That's good.
And I think that was on purpose, of course, too. Obviously, because it's, but it was heartwarming and touching. There's one scene in it that's like really weak, and I wish they would have fixed it in some kind of post editing.
I see.
Because they try to a character and it tries to go on a very tangent monologue about like philosophy and existence as a whole, us as humans and how we try to survive. Our mortality in certain ways, and the character who does it, one is just looks like a total tool bag, like think of a more Bojangy me, with red hair.
Bojangy you.
Pretty bad.
All right.
And two, his like philosophy lesson, as we can call it, was like so like sub tier. Just grade school, like like you went to like psychology in college.
Pretty shallow.
Yeah, shallow, so hurtful that it's like the words he uses are fine, but it's like you can tell that it's like someone talking out their ass, almost.
Okay.
This is the only thing about it that was disappointing. Another movie though, I think that also deserves a huge mention was It Comes at Night, which was.
I was just about to.
You want to say that? Yeah. It Comes at Night, which a lot of people hated.
Yeah, because it wasn't.
Wasn't what they wanted.
Mm-hmm. And I do think the marketing did
always misleading as fuck.
Mislead it a bit. There was the first trailer I thought was good because it was just like the slow pan through the hallway,
and you see like the little
and
tear on the people's
door.
Faces. Yeah, the door obviously being a big thing.
The following trailers I think played up the horror way too much.
Man, it's dark, Yeah,
and dude, that
dark.
movie is so unsettling.
Mm-hmm.
I love how they really play up because you don't really know. Like, between the main characters and, like, the people that they bring in their house, you don't really know who or what is going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't know if they shouldn't be trusted. You don't really know there's a lot of uncertainty in the movie.
And that's what works so well.
They never answer these questions, which I think is great. Because I think people wanted, like, clarity. Yeah. And they don't give you clarity at all.
No.
And, oh, my God, I love...
To be fair, and that is how we would see it. If we were in the situation, like
that's how it would be.
Yeah, we wouldn't know. We wouldn't know what happened. We wouldn't know how everything just kind of like how this one night, of course, the one night that everything happens, like how this happened, how this fell to shit. He said, she said, moments, and it's like we are we're in their shoes.
Yeah.
We don't know. We can see certain things that they're trying to show us, but overall, we won't know like they will.
My favorite moment is when Joel Edgerton is talking to the dude, and they're just talking. It's like nice and it's late at night. They're just talking, it's really quiet, and then the guy mentions he has like a sibling or something that he didn't mention before.
He lied so fucking hard.
And then Joel Edgerton, you can just see it on his face.
Like why would you lie to me?
He can just tell. Like, he realizes that he lied, and you can see in his face. He's like, "Oh shit."
Yeah. Like, I don't trust you now.
Right, and it's so subtle, but it's. Great.
It's so effective, but I think everyone, like, we all caught that moment, and we all had that same sinking feeling, like, that's not good.
Yeah,
like, why would you lie to him like that? and he doesn't call him out on it.
No, he doesn't. He just
Takes it in. He just knows.
Oh,
you know?
dude. And then I love the end. It's so horrifying. The end. Just he kills. Spoilers, but like it came out a while ago. He kills the
entire
the
family.
Kid.
Yeah.
Doesn't he shoot the kid by accident?
Oh, the baby, yeah.
Their kid, right?
Yeah, not the baby, but yeah, the young kid.
And then the mom is like
terrified,
freaking out. She's screaming hysterically, like, "You killed my baby!" Blah blah blah. And you can see like Joel Edgerton. He's just kind of like, It was so great because she's like screaming at him. She's like, kill me," or whatever. And he has this moment where he's like, and then he shoots.
Just does it, yeah.
And it's like, and then the movie's over, like pretty much. And it's like, Jesus Christ, like
so much happens in this like last little span of time, and it's just like because there's so much buildup. So much buildup, and that's why the movie I think is like amazing. It's incredible because in the same sense of these other artsy movies that we saw, and there's that one I want to talk about just for a moment after all this, but like the buildup, everything that it inspires to tell is delivered to us in a very satisfying in that movie, very satisfying and dark sort of context and way, and it makes you afraid because it's true. Like we're unpredictable, man. Like humanity is unpredictable,
especially in moments of like grave desperation or whatever.
And that's exactly what it was. It's just everything unfolding, and by the end of the movie too, like it's the same thing with like a ghost story where it ends in a way that almost unsatisfies. It will unsatisfy certain people because
depressing.
Very very dark. But it's necessary. It's a necessary evil, especially for a tale like that. Yeah. So that's one thing.
So I think we should just try to end this off by shitting on Mother.
Fuck Mother, dude. Fuck Mother. Oh my god. Like that's why I wanted to talk about those like artsy movies that
were good.
Yes, they did what they needed to do, and they were entertaining and valuable.
They were subtle.
Yes, subtlety. And Mother is just this big fucking fat shit on your face of biblical context and like references to like the Mother Nature and how the world is, staving off all of its infectiousness that is us and the disease that we are.
Fine message.
But don't be a goddamn prick about it,
Like I would have been cool if they kind of kept how the beginning started off. If they kept that more
subtle
or less
and
subtlety.
Mm-hmm.
But once they started having people like eating a baby and a baby like peeing on a crowd of people.
Dude, I was out like way before that. Like by the time that people were just in the house, like hanging out,
and it was like crazy and like, party.
Yeah, not even the party. No, just the people in the house, sitting on the countertop.
Yeah.
Like, can you get off of that?
Yeah, and then like breaks,
and then get back on, and then breaks, and like, they're like, haha, and they walk away. I'm like, fuck this movie. All right, like fuck this movie because like. I don't care who you are. I understand what you're trying to deliver. I get the message.
Yeah.
But you are literally like just like being the most prickish asshole about this by making these people as humanely ignorant as possible.
Yeah.
And that is just it's hurtful to watch.
That's humanity, man.
Yeah.
They represent humanity.
Well, go watch freaking It Comes at Night because that's a better way to describe humanity's darkness, okay?
Great.
Because it felt real. It felt real, okay? It felt real. Okay, sorry.
Pull this back. Reel this in.
Real. Sorry.
But yeah, dude, and all right. I think I jumped ship a little bit later than you did, but still, the moment where I really was like I was gradually jumping ship.
Yeah. Dude, I was off.
I was getting like one leg out and then another leg out, and I was but at the moment where I completely let go and just like fell into the ocean, and I was done. I was out. Was when they had the soldiers running through the house.
Oh yeah. Battlefield. People dying.
Yeah.
And stuff.
And I was like, all right, I'm done. Like, this is fucking.
It just gets too ridiculous. Yeah. And it sucks because like.
And then Kristen Wiig walks in, like shoots people in the head with a pistol.
And you're just like you're in the wrong movie. Like, go back to your comedy right now because you don't support this one. Don't do this one, Kristen Wiig. I like you a lot, but this is not where you should be.
Yeah, it was just hitting you over the head by the end, and it was not enjoyable to watch at all. It was an assault on the senses.
Yeah. Oh no, exactly. That's actually a good way to put it. Like, it's one thing to, of course, like, yes, people are ignorant. Yes. These guys are assholes, and yes, like
we treat the earth badly.
Yes, and I get it. Like, okay, this is painful because you're making it painful for me to experience this in her shoes and eyes. I get it. Like, it hurts. It sucks. But when you get to the point where you're just like throwing noise and flashes and you're just going as haphazard, and then the people themselves become like just from one end of unreasonable, like you're already ticking me off, to a whole other end of unreasonable where you're just like,
Yeah.
like, are you like just mindless?
But the thing is the movie, I thought the movie started off pretty well. And when they had Michelle Pfeiffer and Ed Harris, when it was just the two of them and not all the other people, when they were supposed to be Adam and Eve, I guess.
Yeah.
When it was just the two of them, I thought it was fine. And then there was that great moment when Adam is in like hunched over the toilet and God is like kind of helping him, and then there's this big gash in his like side and then where his like rib was taken, and then the next day Eve arrives with him. Eve was created by Adam's rib, so that was a cool like little like
biblical reference. And even then, like people try and saying that wasn't a biblical movie. Like what are you saying? Like why would you even try to argue that?
And then they have sex, and then more people come. Adam and Eve procreate, and there's a bunch of other people. So it's like.
It's smart. Yeah, it is smart.
Yeah.
It's just not fun to watch.
No,
that's the problem. And that's my only issue. Once again, is that it's a literal chore.
Jennifer Lawrence is boring in that movie.
She's boring. It's painful to see her interact with everything.
Yeah.
Because she's trying so hard, and no one listens to her.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you don't care about her either. And that's the thing. Like I never did care about her. Like I never felt like bad for her. I was just kind of like. I guess the biggest situation is that like. It gets to a point where like you in the same sense that eventually the ending is the ending, and so it is like that's what you just want for her, because it's not just like get out, dude. Just go away. Like go. Like what are you doing?
And then it like has that dumb like it kind of like refreshes all at the end, and there's a different girl,
different woman,
I don't know. It was just it misfired for us, I think, and for a lot of people.
I think the worst part of it too is the fact that as the character of God likes to talk about, by the end of it he just wants to please her. But the whole movie is a total BS on that. Obviously, like and I think that's what makes it so unsatisfying. It's like he's obviously gone through the lessons before. He does it again, and he's going to keep doing it again and again and again until he gets it right. Like it's like when someone tells you like, oh, pick up after yourself, and you're like, I really should do that,
but then you never do.
But they never do. Not even trying to once. It's and that's exactly what he does.
And that's the moral of the story: is God is an asshole.
God's an asshole. Don't believe in your local church.
Yeah.